I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Welcome to my channel. I have this remnant of an old feed sack. I'm going to make a little fall bag to hang on a knob on a piece of furniture. So it's going to be a fairly small bag, and it's going to have some pumpkins, and then I'll be able to put some Sweet Annie or bittersweet or other fall things into the bag. So I am going to try to incorporate this hole here and the stripe and some of the staining into my bag. So I cut two pieces that are 4.5 inches wide and 6 inches long, and the front here has the stripe and the back is just plain. I used some of the plain part of it, and so I would save the pinstripe for another project. And then I am planning on using some wool scraps to make some pumpkins to go on it, but I don't want to waste my wool trying to figure out what pumpkin shapes I want and how big to make the pumpkins. So I just used some craft felt, which is very inexpensive at the box craft stores, and I cut out a couple of pumpkins. And got them just size that I like, and then I cut some stems. Now that I have the size that I like, I'm going to take them and use these felt pieces as patterns for my felted wool. Now if you want to do yours just like mine, I will put a pattern for my pumpkins in the description below, and you can use that pattern and not have to draw your own. I'm going to use this plaid orange for this little squatty pumpkin and the solid orange for the tall skinny pumpkin. Then I had actually cut these stems out of real wool, so I'll just use that stem for that one, and then I'm going to use a slightly different green for the other stem. So I want the stem to be angling this way on this pumpkin and this way on this pumpkin. I'm going to take this over to the iron and press it a little bit so everything is nice and flat. That looks much better. Now I'm going to take and use just a little bit of glue to glue it down, and then I'm going to hand sew it down in a very primitive looking fashion. But I want to put the glue on just enough so that it will stay in place while I'm sewing it. Now I have this DMC embroidery floss, and it is very similar in color to this, and it's just a nice fall color. I'm going to use 2 strands of it to sew the pumpkins on. I want this to have a pretty primitive look, so I'm just going to do some big, clumsy looking X's to sew this on. After I had started stitching this, I realized that the left pumpkin is too close to the edge of the fabric for the seam that I have planned, so I took it out and moved it over just a little bit. I used 2 strands of this DMC floss to stitch the pumpkin stems on. I decided it still needs something up in this area, so I found this fabric in my scrap basket. I'm going to tear it at 3.5 inches long. want it to be about 1¼ inches wide. And I want to ravel the edges. And then I'm going to use the stencils that I have. I have these, the uppercase and the lowercase, and they go together. And I'm going to stencil the word fall onto here. And I'm just going to use a black permanent marker. I want to try to center it up and down on the fabric. I thought about stenciling directly onto my project, but if I made a mistake, then it would ruin my fabric, and also this adds a little bit more color. Now I'm going to take 3 strands of the same orange floss that I used around the pumpkins. I'm going to do a running stitch all the way around, just a big, wide running stitch. I finished sewing the running stitch all the way around this, and I wasn't really happy with the way the green on the stems looks, so I took it out and I used the same floss, but I just used 1 strand and it blends in better. Now I'm going to take the front and the back, and I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam on the very top, and then I will unravel up to that point on the top. So you can see my 1/4 inch seam here, and I just put that in to keep the fabric from unraveling further than I want it to. Now I'm going to put my 2 pieces together, wrong sides together, and then I'm going to sew up along each of the sides and the bottom. I'm also going to use a 1/4 inch seam here. After the seams are all in, I'm going to work on pulling out some of these threads to unravel all the seams. Now I'm going to take this same thread that I used here, and this time I'm using 3 strands, and I'm going to do a running stitch like I did here. I'm going to do it all around here so it will look like it was sewn that way. Now if you wanted to skip this sewing step you could, but I think it holds it together better if you sew it with the machine, and also keeps it from unraveling too far. I'm going to start on the inside here so that my knot doesn't show. And then I'm just going to run my running stitch right along where I machine stitched. I finished sewing that on and I tied it off on the inside here. And now I'm going to attach a hanger here. I'm going to use this rusty wire. It's twisted together, pre-twisted. It comes like that in the roll. And I want the hanger to be probably about like that long. So I'm going to add an inch to an inch and a half on either side. This is a little bit more than 11 inches. I'm going to form it into the shape of the handle, and then I'm going to fold up a section on either side. And I'm going to poke that through on the back side. So I'm going on to the inside and then poking it through onto the back. And because this is such a loose weave fabric, it will just poke right through there. Then I'll do the same thing on the opposite side. And then I'm going to twist this wire ends around. Now my bag is finished and I'm going to add some greenery to it. I have some Sweet Annie here. And then I have this old fall pick and it is really falling apart. But this branch right here still looks pretty good. I'm going to use my wire cutters, trim it off and add it to give the greenery a little bit of color. I'm going to put it back behind, actually. That looks better back there. I have this seam binding that has been coffee dyed and wrinkled, and this is a nice dark fall green color. I'm going to tie some of that onto this side on the handle. I hope you found that helpful. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.